Hello and welcome. My name is Marta Carlo. I am the founder and director of education of the International Parenting and Health Institute. And I'm here with Soda Kuczkowski, who is the founder of Start with Sleep. She is also our primary instructor for our integrative adult sleep coach course. And today we are so excited to share this live video with all of you because we are so passionate about this specific topic. The topic we are going to cover today is sleep. A lot of times people think sleep is such a boring topic and do I need sleep and I can't sleep and sleep is such a pain and so much comes around sleep. But for us, sleep is extremely magical. And today we're going to share with you just why that is. We're going to talk a little bit about the history, what led us to this, and some of the key factors that many of you might not know or be aware of that might lead you to wanting to learn more or discover more, not only about sleep for yourself, but even the whole field, because it is an emerging field. The field itself, as Soda will share a lot more, it's very new actually. The research didn't start till about 100 years ago and things have just been growing bit by bit. Our profession of sleep coaching, just started also recently. So anyway, it's a very new field. We're very excited and we're so happy to be here. Soda, anything you want to share as we get started?
Yeah, so just to share a little bit about myself. So I've been in the industry of sleep medicine and sleep health for 15, going on 16 years. And like you said, coming from the sleep medicine and it's primarily focused on problems. And the reason why we thought it would be a great idea to get together and really have this chat about sleep health is because it's about being proactive. Like health and wellness initiatives should include sleep. It shouldn't be about just addressing it when a challenge is posed, right? We have individuals who are either very dismissive about sleep, not realizing the importance it has, how it touches every part of our lives, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Or we have the alternate end where sleep becomes such a challenge that individuals are not able to fall asleep or maintain their sleep. And then it compromises their health in a number of different ways, creating all kinds of chronic conditions. And that's when we place priority on it, right? So what's the saying that says, if you don't make time for wellness, you're going to have to make time for illness, right? So it's really about talking about sleep proactively. And this is a biological need. It's something that we need. It's something that we can't force upon ourselves, right? So when through the International Parenting and Health Institute, one of the things that we do through the program that's offered is provide a holistic approach where we address natural sleep rhythms. It's a natural biological process, right? So, and all of the things that it encompass when it comes to our sleep challenges is actually all about everything else that's around you. It's not just about the sleep itself.
Exactly. Well said, Soda. And I resonate so much just for all of you to know a little bit more about my background. As you already know, I had mentioned I am the founder of the International Parenting and Health Institute, and I'm the director of education of all of our programs. And for me, the reason why sleep means so much, especially in the profession, but even personally, is because I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment with five of us. We have very little space. I grew up in New York City, in Queens, so right outside the city, but I went to school in the city. And for those of you that live in large cities, you understand how much noise, stimulation there is. And so I grew up with a lot of noise. I grew up with a lot of stimulation, both personally in my household and externally. And so as a result, over time, it began to take a toll on me. I began to notice little areas of my life that, I couldn't lose weight, for example, even though I had been exercising and trying to eat right. My focus, my clarity, there was just a number of things that continued to resurface in my life over and over again when I started down the health and fitness path and learning so much more about the various different themes and topics in health and fitness. Sleep became one where I put two and two together. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the missing piece. This is the one piece that so many people don't pay attention to, primarily because, oh, who needs sleep, right? And so I'm sure you can relate. Who needs sleep is often said, or sleep is for the birds, and only the weak people need to sleep, right? Those of you that are strong don't need your sleep. And I learned the hard way. I learned very firsthand, which I took as a blessing in disguise to support my clients, and then later what inspired me to develop this program, and then evolve it to what it is today with Soda. So for me, I feel like so many people are misinformed, and a lot of the, overview or perspective of sleep is very underrated and undervalued. And this gives Soda and I an opportunity to share with you that it is one of the greatest things that can happen to you once you begin getting the sleep that you need, the quality sleep that you need. It's not even just the amount of hours, but the quality of sleep that you need. You will start to see some incredible changes in your life, from your moods to your relationships to so many factors. So, Soda, where do you want to start? Should we start talking about some of the common things that happen, some of the common challenges, and where people get caught up and tie sleep into that? Where would you like to begin?
Well, I think to start off the conversation about, misconceptions or kind of like limiting beliefs when it comes to sleep is to first recognize that sleep health or sleep medicine is in its infancy stage. Even though it's been studied since the 1700s, obstructive sleep apnea, I think, was discovered in 1956. And like I had mentioned, everything is focused on sleep problems. It's only really been in the last 60 years where we've seen the most research that really substantiates the effect that it has on your physical, and your emotional health. I mean, just one bad night of sleep can do everything from, you know, um, multiplying cancerous cells to seeing a decline in cognitive function. We tend to be more negative individuals. We think slower. Our reaction time is compromised. So if you think about, you're talking about those personal and professional goals, whether you're someone who is an entrepreneur or business owner and you're looking for creativity or looking to put in, those long hours and be productive with your time, sleep is how you manage that energy and in time, and in turn, the things that you want to get done. If you're an athlete, a lot of them now have boasted that sleep is their superpower, right? Like when we sleep well, that helps with our physical recovery, that helps with the reaction time, that helps with hitting that world record, right? Like sleep is compounded. It helps with all of those different things. Mental focus with our adolescents, especially now over these last 2 years, teenagers being able to sleep in a little bit more or manage their schedules in a different way versus like this early kind of rise schedule, because they're coasting through those first 2 or 3 periods of school. And we see through research that when you shift start times, that in fact, it does help improve their academic scores, which makes them more likely to graduate, which makes them more likely to go to college, to get employed, quicker and so forth. And there's just continuum where it helps the population in general. I mean, we're both located in the United States. We offer this program globally, and there's statistics on a global scale. But in the United States alone, employees who sleep less than 7 hours per night, it costs the U.S. economy $411 billion. And that also goes into, academics and all these different things. Like, it's so important. It touches every part of our lives. So not prioritizing it seems just silly, right? Because even when right now we're talking about mental health and wellness initiatives, you can't have that without sleep interventions. Like, sleep is such a big part of our mental health. So these conversations not only need to be started, but they really need to be in every room when it comes to our health and wellness.
Absolutely, 100%. And I know that because of the market that we serve, so many people, like you said, were thinking about productivity, right? And when you are well rested, that is when you have the mental clarity, the focus to be able to think smarter and not work harder, right? To understand how you can be more efficient with your time. You'll have a lot more answers and solutions and support when you have that mental clarity and focus. But if you do not, and you're so tired and you're so spent, you're going to find yourself climbing that uphill battle. And in an age of such distraction today, it's I think one of the key messages that Soda and I definitely want to bring across is that it's a lifestyle. It's more than just medicine. It's more than just going to your doctor and getting some pills. One of the reasons why our profession is exploding right now, and why we have so many people coming on board, from nurses to pediatricians to naturopaths, occupational therapists, hypnotherapists, and so on, because they recognize that. I'm sorry? Pharmacists too, because they're recognizing that, this is a lifestyle. The way that we can get ahead and the way that we can improve upon our health, it begins by addressing the way we are living. It's not about just going to your doctor, like Soda said much earlier, waiting for that challenge to happen and then having to spend all the time, the energy, the money on things that could have been prevented, when you really understand, how sleep can be addressed and welcome into your life in a way that makes it easy. And lifestyle is a big, big factor. In fact, most people do not know that the majority of what you're doing in the day absolutely will affect how easy it is for you to fall asleep at night, and how the quality of sleep that you have for the whole night, and so on. Do you want to share some more about that, Soda?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to lack of education. I mean, just the new president for the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. So this is kind of like the regulatory board. This is where physicians are board certified in sleep medicine, upwards of 90 different sleep disorders. They themselves have addressed the fact that there's such limited training and education. Like, there's public health initiatives, but when it comes to sleep, there's a lot of generalizations. And if you go to your traditional healthcare provider, whether it's your primary doctor or specialist, they have very limited training. It used to be 4.25 hours. Now it's only 3 hours that they get in their entire medical career, in their training, in regards to sleep medicine and sleep health. So if you think about how limited that is, it's very easy to see why the quick fix is, oh, I can't sleep, I can't fall asleep, I can't stay asleep. And there's these, prescription medications or over-the-counter medications that are recommended without really understanding the correlation there. Like, if you're taking something even over the counter, like something like melatonin, which is very misunderstood and misused, it can cause circadian misalignment, and it causes a lot more issues. Because like you mentioned, it's those day-to-day lifestyle choices that have the biggest impact on the quality of our sleep at night. But where we have these generalizations around sleep, it's really important to understand how that affects you on an individual basis, right? Because each of us has our own biological rhythm, right? We have what's called our chronotype, right? There's different variations of, you might have heard of like the early riser, like the night owl. So based on our natural patterns, we need to follow certain things. Like, light is a cue for the body. It's like medicine for the body. But regulating it, whether it be getting light in the morning, eliminating it at night, that also depends on the type of work. We have a ton of people in this world now, that work shift work. So I work a lot with like first responders. So like fire, police, correctional officers, manufacturing companies, healthcare workers themselves, healthcare professionals. A lot of them sleep poorly, and it has a lot to do with their schedules, right? So they're not using light appropriately to help them manage both their sleep and their energy levels, because that 24-hour clock is what we're looking to maintain. And we do a lot of things that can either strengthen or disrupt that, be it light, caffeine, our diet, our lack of exercise, the way we manage our stress or our self-care. All of those things holistically, create that balance that we need in order to sleep well.
Exactly. And so, building on that point that Soda just made, when we understand that it is the lifestyle, we start to evaluate our lifestyle, what is going on. We start to be aware of the amount of distractions that we have that have been ongoing before. It can feel a bit overwhelming, right? And so this is why both of us are so passionate about the method that we follow, which is a holistic science of sleep method. And what this method does is that it addresses internal, external factors of each individual's life. We look at everything that is affecting their sleep, from, the way that they think, to their stress levels, nutrition, exercise, absolutely everything. And depending on what is happening for each individual, we will customize an action plan for each individual. Some people might need to pay a little bit more attention to nutrition. Some people may need to pay a little bit more attention to their breath. Breath is often associated with, the yoga world. And I actually took, talking about first responders, a training. It's called Yoga for First Responders. And it was an incredible training because, very similarly to what Soda explained, we covered pretty much the day-to-day of what they go through and how much their bodies have to absorb in terms of the overstimulation and the stresses, et cetera. And a lot of the tools that would support them processing this during the day, right? And in those instances, so that by the time the night comes as well, they have an easier time transitioning to sleep and just overall health and minimizing the stress load. And what's very interesting is there's a number of studies as well on research on breath, and how working with your breath, slowing down, evaluating your breath and where you're at in an instant can absolutely change and recalibrate your nervous system. And so for some people, it might be, and actually for a lot, but I say some because we look at, again, every individual separately. It could be paying more attention to their breath. Others, like I said, nutrition. Some people, or actually a lot of people, are sedentary. And if we're not moving, if we're not getting that circulation going and things become stagnant, that could also slow down a number of things. The light and dark cycles, like Soda was saying, really regulating our exposure to the light and getting a rhythm in our bodies that are balanced, right? And so a number of things, the stages. So another thing that we cover in our program is, the various stages of life. As Soda mentioned earlier, teenage, right? Transitioning into a teenager, that has a whole host of, hormonal things going on. Transitioning into menopause for women or even for men, just a variety of different stages of life that come in. And most times people are misinformed. They're not aware of what to do. They think that, oh, I just have to go to my doctor. I have to take some pills. By no means is Soda and I in this live or in our future lives trying to replace any medical or therapeutic advice. In fact, we always encourage it in our programs. We train our professionals to always refer out because it's not within our scope of practice to address anything medical or therapeutic. But what we are aware of is that most times people do not evaluate some of the most common day-to-day things that absolutely can make a world of a difference. And again, prevent spending so much time and money if they had just known where to look to begin in the first place.
Absolutely. I mean, in the work that I've done over the last, 15 years, that's one of the biggest disconnects is that not understanding the correlation. So for instance, you said the fluctuations, though, as women, right, we're twice as likely to suffer from things like insomnia. A lot of that has to do with hormonal imbalances, stress, and nutritional deficiencies. But we don't talk about nutrition in certain settings, or the fact that there's certain hormones like our estrogen levels decrease, right? So that's why we get hot flashes and there's all these things that happen, but nutrition is correlated to that as well. And temperature is a big part of falling asleep and maintaining our sleep. So it's about connecting those dots that are not necessarily there. So it's very much about supplementing and supporting, right? But also in regards to the life that you lead and the individual challenges that you're experiencing, because it's different for everyone. That's why, now there's all these things on the market, all these different products that you can buy, supplements and so forth. But as Mar mentioned, we take 25,000 breaths in a day. And just something as simple as regulating whether you're a belly breather versus breathing from your chest, when you breathe from your chest, that activates your flight or flight response, right? And as you mentioned, that helps to count that central nervous system. So you're countering that flight or fight response. You're able to relax, right? And we're able to manage our stress better just by simply paying attention to breath. And that's why yoga has gained such popularity, because not only does it elongate muscles and move things and help with inflammation, but it really helps with that breath work, which is so vital.
Exactly. And so what you'll hear a lot of times or see are general tips, right? There's so many tips out there. And the tips that Soda and I see often, we do agree with. But the key thing is to know which tip is appropriate for you. And so that's where an assessment comes in. That's where doing a thorough assessment, an evaluation of your whole lifestyle comes in. Because if you just start looking at general tips and going, oh, okay, I'll try this, I'll try that, but you're not really clear about where the root cause of your challenge is. I often like to, and I wrote this on a blog and even in my book, is like, putting a blindfold on while you're trying to throw a dart at a bullseye, right? You're not able to see the bullseye, but yet you're trying to hit the bullseye with the blindfold. And so very similarly, if you are not clear about what the root cause of your challenge is and you haven't done a thorough evaluation, you're going to be very much in the dark. You're going to try to throw those darts and hit the bullseye and try different things and run around in circles until, you may find it or not. But why go through all that frustration when you can just simply get to, the bullseye by looking right at it, right? By uncovering that root cause. And so that's something that also Soda and I touch upon a lot. And in the next we're going to be doing them every other week. We're going to be doing a live for all of you. And so whatever topics you want us to cover, if you have a challenge going on, any questions you have, let us know. Please write them in the comments, because we would love to address them with you. We would love to support you. And this whole entire intention and purpose of this live is to support all of you to uncover some of the myths and misconceptions, but more importantly, to support all of you and to reignite this passion for sleep. It's not a boring thing, it's a fun thing, because what's better than gaining your energy back, right? Having a better mood, having the energy to exercise, to enjoy life, to meet life's challenges, because that's the thing. Um, Soda and I, what complements us really well is we come from very different backgrounds that cross over. My background is in the health and fitness industry, so I have a lot of experience working with clients from all walks of life and supporting their health from exercise, and sleep was a very big nutrition. Sleep was very huge because I've had many clients who were getting 3-4 hours of sleep, and they're like, okay, what are the exercises? What's the nutrition I need to do to, get to this weight or to get to this strength level? I'm like, well, if we want to get there, we got to first address the sleep, right? So we can't, overlook that thing. And they're like, really? I mean, many people have this misunderstanding about it still. So what we want to do, and our intention is to really, again, reignite that passion for all of you, and to help you also get very clear on where you can start doing evaluations, what resources are available to you, because, again, it breaks my heart every time I see people struggling. I'll give you one example. I'm going to keep it anonymous because I didn't ask this person for permission and I just spoke with them. But I'll give you an example. I spoke with someone recently who was concerned because they were losing their memory. And this started happening recently. And so I just asked a few questions, when this started. And she has been taking care of this older person who's in their 90s. And ever since she started taking care of this person, she herself started losing some sleep because she would stay over this person's house just in case, anything happened. And she started losing sleep. So initially, when she started losing her memory, her instinct, which is everybody's normal instinct, is I got to call the doctor. I got to, set something up. I got to investigate, which we encourage. We never want to stop anybody from obviously seeking medical advice or therapeutic advice. But at the same time, I was just really interested in what possibly could have led to this, because this person and her family also doesn't have any history of memory issues. This person has very, very good health. And so then I, got into the sleep. I said, well, how's your sleep been? And, oh, not that great. Actually, I'm not really sleeping much. When did this start with your memory? Oh, it started, about 9 months ago. Is that the time when you began, sleeping over this person's house? Yes. Do you feel that perhaps maybe it's the sleep that's been affecting your memory? And then all of a sudden a light bulb went off, and it's like instinctually this person knew, oh my gosh, this is probably it. So anyway, long story short is that this ended up being the primary reason that this person started having an impact with memory loss. It actually took about 3 months before it really built to a point where it became scary, but that's what happened. Similar with ADHD, I'm definitely not the one to say I'm a doctor to diagnose or not. But what I will tell you is that I have worked with a number of clients whose children were diagnosed with this, and it was in fact a lack of sleep. Again, that's not for every child, but there are a number of children where it was sleep. So in any case, these are the kinds of things that Soda and I want to shed light to and really inspire all of you to understand more, so that, we can open more discussions and, bring the sexy back to sleep, bring the passion back to sleep, the excitement back to sleep.
Yeah, I think, everything that you said, it just comes down to empowerment. With health and wellness, it can be very discouraging and very disempowering, right? Because you don't know where to look. If you're having a challenge, you don't know, generally, if you're having trouble sleeping, then your body's achy, you're more susceptible to injury. There's all these things that can happen, and getting to the root cause, empowering you to understand where to look, the thing that's going to be the most significant factor that is in fact causing all of these other little ripples in your health, is the thing that we're really focused on. Because you can wake up in the middle of the night for a number of reasons, right? But you need to know where to look, right? Does it fall into your stress? Does it fall into your nutrition? Are there hormonal fluctuations? Is it an environment thing? Like, there's a lot of different things that could be going on, but it's all about getting right to the core of that root cause, so that you can in turn get your health back.
100%. And a place to start, and Soda and I, maybe this is where we can wrap up too, and then we can continue on as we move forward with more of this series. I think a place to start is slowing down. When you're in a situation where you recognize that your health is taking a toll on you. You know, your energy is low. Things are happening that are not feeling good. You're not sure where to begin. You start looking for answers. Before you start grasping, okay, this book, this video, that video, where do I go? What do I do? Who do I see? Doctor, this, the next. Slow down. I can't tell you how often people disregard or undervalue their own inner guide to lead them in the right direction. And so when you slow down, it's kind of like, imagine that, you know, what do they say? There's like a saying, which I'm not remembering right now, but like, it's almost like if you're in the ocean and you feel like you're going to drown, like the harder you paddle and the harder you try to get out of the situation, you're more likely you are to drown.
Something about the tide, right? Isn't it something about the tide?
But when you calm down, right, when you're able to just relax and calm down, it's like you're able to meet the challenge of what's happening, and your likelihood of drowning minimizes, right? So it's very similar to that. When you're in any kind of sleep challenge situation, you know, it's very important to just take a step back and look at the whole picture and slow down. Of course, there's many resources like Soda and myself. We're training so many professionals globally to support you. So you're more than welcome to always reach out to a sleep coach. And regardless if it's a sleep coach from, you know, the International Parenting and Health Institute or another coach, we always recommend that this coach is someone that is following a holistic protocol. They're doing a thorough investigative evaluation and really looking into all aspects of your life, internally and externally. And really going with what feels most appropriate for you. But that begins with slowing down. If you, again, are trying to grasp and you're rushing through everything, you're more likely going to run into many roadblocks than if you take a step back and go, okay, let me just slow down, take a look at this picture, and then be guided as to where you go next. And any additional thoughts, comments, Soda?
No, I think, you know, as we're getting into that, just addressing, you know, some of the most common issues. And I think our next kind of time that we get together to do a talk, maybe going over some of the most common myths when it comes to sleep. So the question I'll leave you with is, can you catch up on sleep? Yes or no? You'll have to tune in next time to find out.
Yes, that's a great question and a common question, because most people think, oh, I can lose a bunch of sleep because I can catch up on it. But can you really catch up on it? So we'll have some answers and, you know, review things. And again, if you have questions, experiences, anything you'd like to share, please write it in the comments below. We will be reading them. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to joining you again. We will be here again in a couple of weeks. We will be putting the date and time. So if you have not subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and also the notification button. This will alert you when we will have our next live. It most likely, and I believe it will be on a Tuesday, and the time will be there and so on. So if you click on the subscribe and then the notification, you'll be alerted so you will not miss anything. We look forward to seeing you there.